In today's episode, the first generation Honda Civic. Hello and welcome to Quarterlight, your car brochure channel, where we look at car brochures for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s. Car brochures like this one we're going to look at today for the first generation Honda Civic. This particular brochure is actually from the UK. If you think any of this might interest you, then please do consider subscribing. It's all completely free. But anyway, let's throw that brochure on the board and have a little chat about it. Because actually there is a Quarterlight first within this brochure. Let's have a look. So here is the brochure. First thing to note, it is a little bit smaller than a normal size brochure, but actually when you open it up, it folds quite interestingly. It's actually a really good brochure. Actually from the front cover it doesn't look that exciting, but within the pages I actually really like this brochure. And I always really like the overall look, design and size of that first generation Honda Civic. This particular brochure, I don't think there's a date. We may discover one as we go through it, but I don't remember seeing a date within it. But all the cars are on P registrations and they are actual cars, so we're thinking maybe 75, 76, something round there. The front page, not that exciting because they put this metallic blue on a black background in quite a shaded image really. I don't know why they did that, but let's zoom in on it. Regulars will know I never like the black background because you get all these silly reflections on there, but yeah, like I said, better images within the brochure, so we'll quickly move on. I do like at the bottom here where they've got these little very cute little drawn images of the Mark 1. Anyway, let's open the brochure up. So here it is, and like I said, much nicer images on the inside. Don't worry, we will zoom in and clear them pictures up in a moment. Start talking about the Honda 1200 Civic, and I said it opens interestingly because we get a sort of this sort of page. It's quite wordy, but actually it's a really good page. And like I say, this yellow example is going to turn out to be a Quarterlight first. We'll talk about it in a moment. Let's read the text first, and maybe some of the regulars there might have a little idea or may have a think about why this is going to be a Quarterlight first. But let's, like I say, read the text first. It says Honda 1200 Civic. The Honda 1200 Civic is designed to give you the utmost satisfaction in day-to-day driving, business or pleasure. In compact size, makes driving on crowded city streets and parking in small spaces a simple pleasure rather than a nerve-wracking chore. The interior is much more spacious and comfortable than you would expect in an automobile with such compact dimensions. A 4-cylinder, 4-stroke, water-cooled cross-flow engine assures quiet motoring and makes long trips at high speeds a non-tiring pleasure. And then we got a continuation of these little images. There is our little Honda Civic in certainly what looks like a UK streets. Very interesting, kind of like demonstrating that parking ability on a much smaller car. Now the image itself, the main image, is a really beautiful looking Civic, if you don't mind me saying that. I love it in yellow. I love these early ones with the sort of extra bright work on there. They're just an interesting car, I think, for the time. I'm going to zoom in to that front end, which is also cute, isn't it? Like I say, I love that bright work, that chrome bumper on there. Indicators and side lights almost look like there was a little bit of an afterthought. Oh, we've forgot to put these on there, or maybe it was like, oh, for the UK market we need these, what are we going to do? It's like, I'll just stick them there. Definitely doesn't look that neat, but like I say, the overall design of the car I always think is a real winner. Maybe this is my favourite of all the Civics, I don't know. But much smaller, of course, than modern Honda Civics, as many cars tend to be. They start off as being very small cars, and then the next generation, it's a bigger car, more for your money. And then the next generation comes like, it's a bigger car, more for your money. Then you kind of like find out that it's no longer this original concept of being a very tiny little city car. You see the same thing, the Mark 1 Golf was a very tiny car when it first came out. Number plate on there, a UK number plate, MLA 993P. And like I said, this is a little bit of a first actually, because when I throw that number plate into the UK government database, it comes up with this car is still taxed. Its tax is due on the 11th of November 2025. Time of recording, this was June 2025. Comes up MOT, no results returned, because of course by this time this would have been a MOT exempt car. Details come up with a Honda, of course, first registered November 75, so like I said, this is probably a 76 brochure, I'm going to say. Year of manufacture 1975, cylinder capacity 1169 cc. All good stuff. It's even coming up that it is actually still yellow, so rather lovely. They didn't respray it, they kept it in that rather delightful shade of yellow. So it says date of last V5C logbook issued the 29th of November 2017. You'll have to remind me, does that mean when it was the last change of ownership? I was trying to rack my brains to remember if that's the case, but yeah, been in someone's hands possibly since 2017 and still running around. Be lovely if that person actually saw their car and commented. I've probably used this picture for the main little picture for the brochure, just in the hope that maybe the owner would get in touch. But isn't that lovely to see that this car is still on the roads? Certainly when this was built, I'm sure nobody imagined this buying the car in 1975 it would still be running around in 2025. I got a little bit excited. Maybe that's the nerdiness in me. But of course, this is a very nerdy channel, isn't it? But yeah, it did surprise me that this is still taxed. Anyway, let's open the little flap up. There is more images of this car actually. And we open the brochure up, and like I say, this little 1200 is the star of this Civic 1200 pages in this brochure. I'm sure the owner's probably got this brochure, hasn't they, tucked away, because, and maybe the fact that it was in the brochures meant that it was kept running, because maybe someone realised that and, felt it was too special just to use as an everyday car. I don't know. I don't know what the story is, why it lasted. Maybe the fact it was this rather delightful yellow made it really stand out and get looked after. We possibly will never know. We'll read the rest of the description, then we'll come back to these lovely images. And of course, I'm just thinking there is a chance that maybe Honda themselves kept it for quite a while as it was in the brochure. But who knows? Like I said, the description says the Honda Civic puts pleasure back into motoring. It offers you excellent value and a good return for your money. Certainly in miles per gallon, the Civic is designed to run on low octane 2-star fuel with no loss efficiency or performance. A thermostatically controlled electric cooling fan allows the engine to reach its optimum working temperature quickly. It has an automatic fuel mixture pre-warning device to ensure that fuel-air mixture is supplied to each cylinder at a controlled constant temperature for cleaner, more economical power. The engine has an overhead camshaft and hemispherical combustion chamber is exceptionally flexible, so you can idle along in high gear at low speeds and still have quick pickup and brisk acceleration for pulling out into the fast lane of motorways or for overtaking. Front wheel drive is a great aid to driving stability, especially on poor roads and on snow or ice covered surfaces. With the weight of the front mounted engine on the driving wheels, the possibility of tyre spinning or skids when braking is reduced. Positive feel, rack and pinion steering along with the wide track, long wheelbase and low centre of gravity of this low body profile assures easy handling and good road holding in all conditions. Luxurious strut type independent four-wheel suspension with coil springs irons out the bumps on bad roads and aids cornering. If you can get a lot out of the Civic, we thought it only fair that you should be able to put a lot into it. And this is where the 3-door 1200 model comes in. The rear tailgate swings up at a single touch to provide convenient loading for large items, shopping, golf clubs, picnics. For really capacious load carrying, the rear seat folds down and you've got yourself the neatest estate car on the road. The 1200 Civics are available with manual or Honda-matic transmission, the Honda-matic being a semi-automatic system incorporating a torque converter with 2 running positions, providing an incredibly smooth, efficient transmission system. A look on the inside and a little bit of wood on there to make it look a little bit more upmarket. No sign of a radio. Pretty basic on the inside, no rev counter of course, very simple steering wheel. Looks like this particular model is the manual rather than the Honda-matic. Look at that engine bay and that very simple, looks like it reasonably easy to work on engine. And looking at the styling of the rear there, little Civic badge of course, and how that first generation Civic lights look like. And then we even get a little bit of a close-up shot of that steel wheel with that little Honda badge in the centre. And then a little bit of a school picture actually, mum ferrying her 4 kids in this tiny little car. And more looks at that rear styling and that number plate, which like I say, shows that it's still around this little car. The more small text at the bottom of the picture there isn't anything about the car itself. It just says women's fashion from Simpson, Piccadilly Limited, London. You'll see that quite a bit. I think the next one shows the suitcases from Simpsons and Piccadilly. Obviously it must have been sponsored by them at the time. Now of course, as we learned there, we was talking about the rear tailgate swings up at a single touch to provide convenient loading for its large items, shopping, golf club, etc. But the picture that's attached to it obviously hasn't got that at all. It's got this sort of like more of a lower trunk that lifts up. When we swing the camera around, this is the model with the hatchback of course, and indeed the drawing of the yellow one now becomes the model with the tailgate that lifts up for the golf club, so that's a little bit confusing. One more point that I kind of like noticed. What are these 2 very small little dots here for? Almost like there's an emblem or something not on there. Now at first I thought, oh, maybe that's just the printing and that's not really there, it's just a couple of dots on the page. But if I take you to the blue example, then we got them 2 little dots there as well. I wonder what was there or is supposed to be there. That's a little bit weird. Anyway, let's read the text that comes below the blue example, then we'll come back to the blue image. So the text now gets larger. It says superb road holding and stability is assured by a combination of ideal weight distribution and low body profile, all independent 4-wheel suspension and front mounted transverse engine with front wheel drive. The latest advantage in anti-pollution design, safety features and low-cost operation coupled with modern design results in a car which will fit perfectly all motoring needs of today and tomorrow. And yes, this is indeed the next image with a tiny writing that says Italian luggage from Simpsons of Piccadilly, London. Now the number plate on this one, MLB 14P, didn't actually bring up any information at all for me, sadly, but I mean, It's unusual to find one car that still survives, so two would certainly be pushing it, but certainly this is the more practical one, isn't it, with the hatchback design in rather a pleasant shade of metallic blue. So we turn the page once again, and now we're greeted with another model. It's not the same one. This is now the 1500 Civic, and I believe it's the same one that came on the front cover, so the 4-door example. And certainly when we move up to the 4-door example, a lot more kit, a lot nicer interior, and I think we're getting a rev counter on there as well. So it's a nice step up, and actually a 1500 engine is reasonably large for the UK for this size of car. Moving to the text, it tells us the Honda 1500 Civic is a delightful car, offering many features of the 1200 model, but with the added advantage of extra power and 4 doors. Careful design has resulted in a saloon offering excellent balance between performance, safety and comfort combined with economy. The compact front-wheel drive transverse mounted engine provides that essential extra space to the interior of the car. And then once again we get a little drawing, this time of the 4-door 1500. Then we zoom into the actual main page of this model, and I think it is a slightly different colour than the blue example of the 1200. This looks like more of a silver, doesn't it? Number plate MLA 992P does tell us the colour is silver, although those databases are not always 100% true. It does come up with some information, but unfortunately not the information we want. It tells us it's untaxed. Tax due was on the 1st of October 1986. So this one unfortunately probably died in 1986. Date of first registration, November 75, like that yellow one. Year of manufacture, 75. Cylinder capacity has moved up, of course, to 1488 cc. Date of last V5, 30th of April 1986. So yeah, it sounds like it died around that time. A little bit different on the front there. We've lost the little side lights, and then we've just got these reflector indicators tacked on as a bit of an afterthought instead now. Main image, interesting little image. The small caption now is men's gloves from Simpsons in Piccadilly. And then we got a lady on a motorcycle. Not a motorcycle expert, but I would expect that is a Honda. And then we open the brochure still further and get more in-depth looks at this 5-door, well really 4-door I would probably call it, Honda Civic 1500, and we can certainly see when we look at the images it is certainly a step up from the 1200. Other thing to note is how lovely this brochure is. Like I say, for a tiny brochure there is so much information in here. Maybe that was the idea, to do a small brochure for a small car, but gives you more when you get inside, maybe. Once again, we'll look at the text, we'll come round to these images, we'll look at this text, and we'll look at the inside. Text tells us the interior of the Honda 1500 Civic is really spacious. The floor is fully carpeted without an intrusive transmission hump, and the door handles are recessed both inside and out. The full-size seats are of hard-wearing vinyl, with side contours providing extra support to the upper legs. The extra length squad assuring a more relaxed position and a strong lumbar support, keeping the back at the correct angle to combat driver fatigue. The front seats are fully reclining with head restraints as standard, and the rear seat is fully sprung. So there we go, head restraints as standard on this budget car. Yeah, other countries of the world, so what, but in the UK, budget cars really didn't have head restraints, and of course, quite an important safety feature. You can select a recirculatory or fresh air heating system and natural or forced through floor ventilation. The dashboard has being ergonomically designed with raised dials for quick glance reading and switches and knobs lower and closer to hand. Control stalks on the steering column are only fingertips away, and when you're sitting comfortably, there's an efficient built-in standard equipment push button radio that completes the Honda Comfort picture. So even things like that standard radio, mid-70s, that was a bit of a thing too. It goes on to tell us the 4 wide doors offer easy access and are front hinged for safety, with 2 position stops, while the panoramic windshield and large door windows give you a good front and side visibility. The 1500 Civic gives a smooth and quiet ride with independent 4-wheel suspension. The water-cooled overhead camshaft 4-stroke engine produces an especially wide and flat torque curve for driving ease in all sorts of traffic conditions, plus greater reliability and almost unbelievable petrol economy. To match the environment, the silencer is very efficient even at high engine speeds, and the engine is designed to use low-octane, no-lead petrol. Other anti-pollution devices include a canister-type fuel vapour trap to control petrol evaporation, crankcase ventilator to recycle blow-by gas, and automatic fuel intake. Preheating system. A sealed radiator with overflow tank makes refilling unnecessary. Wet sump pressure lubrication utilises 2 filters. The 1500 Civic is available with manual or Honda-matic transmission. Then we look at the main image. We can see it's gone back to being like the non-hatchback design again. We can see, actually I think overall this car is actually quite advanced, isn't it? A little 4-door small car. And some of the mechanical features seem quite advanced for the time. I can understand why it was an important car for Honda. Overall, like the design, we can just about make out those tiny little headrests, but nevertheless, they are there. Small print this time tells us men's and women's Tashini tennis fashions and equipment from Simpsons Piccadilly. Got very, very 70s, isn't it? Moving on to more important images. More comprehensive equipment and a more sportier looking steering wheel as well. Important key features there. We are going to tachometer or rev counter there, which is a little bit unusual for a small car of its time. We also get extra little gauges. We've got a fuel and temperature gauge in this sort of sporty position. Of course, we do get that all important radio in there as well. Moving down, there is our 1500 engine. Quite a pleasant looking seat, all very 70s and vinyl-y, no doubt. And then a close look at that front headlight. Okay, so just folding that page back, remember we have read this first introduction page, but I have just noticed down at the bottom here, this was actually a continuation onto here, so I do apologise. So at the bottom here it says, provides the essential extra space to the interior of the car, and then continues over here by saying making long or short journeys relaxing. So let's continue with that. Making long or short journeys relaxing and comfortable for your passengers. A long wheelbase matched to vehicle length and the widest possible tyre tread for the width of the car give a very high ratio of ground contact coverage in comparison with the overall body area. The Civic ground hugging shape with low profile and low centre of gravity allows more driving stability and safer, steadier cornering, as well as being proof against side wind movement. With front and rear overhangs kept to barest minimum, this model is ideal in traffic conditions and is particularly easy to park. And then of course we get a little bit of drawing of the 4-door. And that is another angle of the 4-door Civic. So now turning the page and becoming the last pages for this brochure, we get some of the nice little key features for the equipment, safety features and then specifications. So let's go through this logically. It starts by telling us equipment in both Honda models would be difficult to better in cars usually costing considerably more, but Honda has a reputation to keep leaders in value for money motoring. So I'll take a look at these features. So a close look at the radio. It tells us a neat and compact built-in AM radio of exceptional clarity and range, with easy tuning and a push-button on-off switch that controls volume and tone. Standard on the 1200 Deluxe and 1500 models only. Kind of a reminder there that there is two 1200s, the standard model and the deluxe model. This hideaway radio aerial fully extends for first class reception. When not in use, it slides down completely into the offside screen pillar, standard on the 1200 Deluxe and 1500 models only. High efficiency through flow ventilation system situated at the end of the fascia on both driver and passenger sides, easily controlled and directional operated. All lighting controls are on one multi-lever mounted on the steering column. The stalk is positioned fingertip close for safe and efficient operation without having to remove your hands from the wheel. A heated rear window is fitted as standard on the 1200 Deluxe and 1500 models to ensure clear rearward vision, whatever the weather. An easily visible warning light helps you to prevent undue drain on the battery. Honda's semi-automatic transmission system provides effortless and smooth motoring from start to maximum speed, with hand-operated selector for overtaking, steep hill climbing or extra engine braking. Safety features a sturdy monocoque body, independent suspension on all four wheels, front-wheel drive for stable cornering power, Honda design with safety in mind. Honda's power-assisted dual-circuit braking system should one system fail. Servo-assisted braking would be retained on one front disc and the diagonally opposite rear drum, still providing balanced braking. Wide-angle visibility for extra safety. A lower bonnet line produces a greater extended forward field of vision. And then finally, energy absorbing steering column. The column is a special double collapsing design incorporating a telescopic top shaft combined with articulating two joint linkage for added protection. So that then takes us to specifications, starting with this X-ray style cutaway image. And then we start talking about the 1200 Civic. So engine features all aluminium cross-flow design, thermostatically controlled carburetor air intake, water heated manifold hotspot, toothed belt drive overhead camshaft, special hardened valve sets for lead-free petrol. Interesting for the UK. Thermostatically controlled electric radiator fan, separate engine transmission oil system. The engine is a transversely mounted 4-cylinder OHC water-cooled. Talks about the bore and stroke. Capacity 1169cc. Maximum output 50 PS at 5500 RPM. Maximum torque 8 kgm at 3500 RPM. Carburetor Hitachi twin choke type. Moves on to the transmission, so a choice of a 4-speed synchromesh manual or that Honda Matic semi-automatic. Front wheel drive, starts talking about the ratios, talks about the clutch being a diaphragm type. Electrics, of course, 12 volt. Brakes, servo assisted hydraulic tandem system with front discs, rear drums and mechanical handbrake. Suspension, independence on all four wheels, incorporating strut type design and front anti-roll bar. Steering is rack and pinion. Tyre size 155 SR12. Moves on to dimensions, wheelbase, track, etc, etc. Body is a compact monocoque body shell, minimum overhang, detachable front panels, reinforced roof side rails, sturdy wraparound bumpers and a wide opening doors with 2 position stops. Safety features: servo assisted brakes, disc brakes on front, tandem braking system, external underfloor fuel tank, recessed and flush fitting interior and exterior door handles, front hinged bonnet, rigid body shell for a high degree of rollover protection, collapsible steering column, 2-speed windscreen wipers, low centre of gravity with good weight distribution, fresh air fascia ventilation. And then general features: we've got reclined front seats, reversing lights, fitted carpet, passenger sun visor, lockable fuel filler cap, alternator, interior located multi-fuse box, variable speed recirculating fresh air heater and ventilation system, radio aerial location, fingertip controls. And then the deluxe model gets the radio, tinted windows, heated rear window, not tinted. So that then takes us to the 1500 version. So engine features: aluminum cylinder head, thermostatically controlled carburetor air intake, exhaust heated manifold hotspots, toothed belt drive, overhead camshaft, special hardened valve seats for lead-free petrol, thermostatically controlled electric radiator fan, separate engine, transmission oil system, engine transversely mounted 4-cylinder OHC, water cooled. Capacity 1488cc, now moves it up to a maximum output of 70 PS at 5500 RPM, maximum torque 10.5 kgm at 4000 RPM. Transmission again, or semi-auto or manual. A lot of this is of course going to be the same, so I'll just move my camera over it. Even the tyre size, 155 SR12 is the same size. So I'm just going to move the camera down like so, and then I've just moved the camera down still further. That takes us to the bottom now. And like the deluxe version of the 1200, we get a heated rear window, radio, and even a tachometer now as standard. Then we get all the brochure small print. Don't look at the colours and think you can get them, and we can change things at any time. Doesn't appear to be a date though, does there? And then finally it just finishes on the back page. Quite a blank page. Here's where your Honda dealer stamp would normally be. And then if I zoom in, we get another of those little rather cute little drawings this short time showing a 3-door hatch in silver. And at the end here, the Honda UK information. So Honda UK Limited, Power Road, Chiswick, London. Designed and produced by Padden and Brooks Limited, Tunbridge Wells. Printed by R. Millward Limited, Nottingham. So there we go then. It's rather delightful little Honda brochure with that lovely surprise that yellow example is still around. Certainly if you own that, please do jot in the comments. Love to hear the story of that car. But thank you so much for watching today. We'll end as we always do by saying, we'll end of course with my favourite car in the brochure, MLA 993P. We'll also say, if you're not already done so, please do consider subscribing. That does help the channel and helps you keep in touch with the channel. You can also now become a member to support the channel. We're only a tiny channel. I'm not sure how far we're going to grow, if much more, so every bit of membership really does help. But thank you so much for watching today. Please do take care, and we'll see you very soon. All the best and goodbye.